check, 1, 2. Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV. Coleman, he'll shoot and he'll score! One in the area! And it's not, we did Good afternoon, welcome to Cardiff City TV and welcome to live coverage of the Bluebirds' third home game in the Championship season. Preston North End, an unbeaten Preston North End as well, the visitors this afternoon, as Cardiff look to throw off the disappointment of last week's seven-side derby defeat away at Bristol City. I'm Ashley James. As ever, we'll be joined by John Donovan, stumble over his name, here this afternoon. We'll also be hearing from the manager. We're hearing from Jack Simpson, a relative new signing still in these parts. We'll be hearing from Callum O'Dowda, and hopefully we'll also be hearing from former Cardiff City player Roger Gibbons with a competition for you guys. All of that coming up in the next 30 minutes or so as we head towards kickoff. So, John, let's...
I'll take Don, by the way.
Don Jonathan stood next to me. Let's revisit the disappointment with your pseudonym of last Sunday and another derby day defeat for Cardiff, but one that maybe with a bit of distance from. I don't know whether you're the same as me. You've looked at it and gone, you know what, Cardiff had the best chances of the game. They were a little disappointing. The performance wasn't great, but they were largely, in conjunction with the Reading defeat, they're largely failings, if you want to say that, of a disjointed performance when things start to go against them. Is that not what you might expect from a relative new team?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think the consistency is something that Cardiff have to find. Against Reading for 50 minutes, they were decent and they dropped off. For Bristol City, I think the injury early on shook them in terms of the reorganisation that had to happen. I don't think there was that fluency. But like you, I thought, and I said to you after the game, I thought we had the three best chances of the game. We just didn't take them. And you can talk about goal scoring and what have you all you want, and I'm sure we will. We are creating chances. I still believe in this process. I still believe in the project that's going on. And I think this will come good. I think certainly after the last disappointing away result against Reading, we bounced back with a scintillating performance then at home against Birmingham. Really tough task today against a team that hasn't conceded a goal yet, but I'm expecting to see Cardiff City look to reach those heights again. But no, yeah, at the time it hurt, Ash. Derby defeats always hurt. We've had a lot of them recently, but 6-7 days advance from that, I'm still a big believer in the process that's going on.
Good to see 6.5 days later. You're a lot less angry than you were.
I was angry.
At final whistle during the game at Bristol City, in fact. So, team news then for Cardiff this afternoon, heading into this game with Preston North End, and 3 changes from that team that lined up last Sunday. One of them enforced. We knew that Joel Bagan, this will come a day too soon for him in terms of his concussion protocols, so a change needed at left back. Niels Nkauku is actually on the bench. Obviously a new signing, Loney, arrived yesterday from Everton, but not ready to start, so Callum O'Dowda will do the job this afternoon, filling in the left back position. There's also changes in the middle of the park and out wide, so Joe Rolls will start the game, the Cardiff captain, in the midfield 3, and 2 changes on the wing position. So Jayden Philogene starts on the left of midfield. Ruben Colwill, who looked so exciting off the bench in that cameo at Bristol City starts on the right of the attacking line. Max Waters through the middle. So some changes, but to reiterate what we were discussing before the game, you're pleased to see that he's gone with an athlete again at left back and somebody who can provide width rather than asking one of the centre halves to play there.
Absolutely. Cardiff City are looking to play modern day football. Modern day football is about your fullback sometimes being your greatest attacking outlet. Dare I suggest that more pragmatic managers in recent times would have just shifted Perry NG across. I am glad that Steve Morison hasn't done that. You know, whether with the benefit of hindsight in 2 hours we'll be saying the same thing, but this system depends on those fullbacks being able to get forward, being able to get past the midfield three and being able to link and put balls in the box. Callum O'Dowda was superb against West Brom when he came on. It's not the position he wants to play, it's not the position he's been brought in to play. It will be a short-term fix, but I think it's the right decision for today.
Did a job, of course, against West Brom when called into action in that position. And the other interesting one, I think, Rolls in that middle of the pack instead of Renamotu drops to the bench, maybe with one eye on an ability to sit Rolls and Wintle as a two with a bit more discipline there and then push Sawyers into that number 10 position where he did his best work a week ago.
Yeah, he did, and it's all about the pieces fitting together. Ruben Colwell, I think he earned the start. He was fantastic when he came on, but at the moment I'm not sure Steve Morison trusts him in a middle three in terms of where he gives the ball away on the pitch, his tracking back, what have you. So it's about protecting him and protecting the team, and I think coming from the right hand side that makes sense for him, and I'm with you. I think Rules, if we're being dominated in the midfield perhaps, and I read your programme article and I completely agree that midfield three of Preston is very hard to penetrate. It's probably the cornerstone of everything they're doing at the moment. If the midfield battle needs to be won, Joe Rules can either step up or he can step back with Wintle, and Sawyers can come into that number 10 role. So it's a little bit horses and courses in midfield. I think it gives Steve Morison options in there, and I think it gets Ruben Colwell on the pitch, which I think we're all excited about, but it's not as a midfield three, which I think Steve Morison, and I don't want to put words in his mouth because I've learned from press conferences you don't put words in Steve Morison's mouth, but I don't think at the moment he sees Ruben Colwell as someone who can maybe play as part of that midfield three.
Tell you what, lovely little segue there, because you don't need to put words in Steve Morison's mouth, because we're going to hear from the Cardiff manager now. This is what he had to say yesterday when he spoke to the Istanbul press.
We know what we want out of this week. We had a cut-off was after the Millwall game, see where we are from a points point of view and see how we're getting on, and then we'll have 3 games going into the international break.
I've been really impressed. I'm the 14th out of new players, so I think how quickly the group's got together and gelled and doing what the manager wants is really impressive. Sometimes I think that gets underrated. How difficult that is, not just for the staff but for the players. You're playing with players you've never played before, so getting to know them as quickly as possible. I think this is a really strong squad, and I think we've got a real chance of having a successful season.
Yeah, and it's like Ryan's 26, his perfect age, and Andy Renamotu as well. And you've got Joe a little bit older, Romain. Obviously that allows us to let Eli go on loan as well, because you have those bodies. So and Ruben gets to work with those every day. And it's good.
It's only 5 games into it. It's very early. Like I said, it's a very new group of lads. But I think overall it's a positive start. With some good results. And I could see, this group really moving forward and doing well. Where that will be right now, I think that's very hard to say. But, we've got goals within the group that we've set. And for us, it's about, getting the fans along with us on this journey that hopefully we can build something successful.
I'm sure my words after the game would have affected them. But I'm sure every time you guys put something out saying we need a striker so desperately, will affect them as well, because they would take that as then people around don't rate them, and the Twitter sphere or whatever it is that people put and they're negative towards them will have an effect on them as well. But it doesn't stop anyone doing it or changing anyone doing it. So it's something that fortunately I didn't have to deal with too much when I played just towards the end. They have to deal with it all the time now, don't they? So they've got to be strong mentally, get through it, and once that one goes in the back of the net, hopefully more will follow.
I think he was the big one in terms of talking to him, because I didn't know a lot about the club, obviously, because it changed quite a bit just this season through him and the players he brought in. So I knew Rocky, Ryan Allslop before, but in terms of the group, I didn't really know the group too well. It was obviously a very new squad, so I didn't really know what they were going to be like at all. So I think obviously Morrow was a big one in terms of that, but I think just really, it's a huge club, a major city. They clearly had an idea of what they wanted to do, and something that I felt like I could definitely be a part of. So just other things on top of that, little things, but Morrow was probably definitely the key to coming here.
Cardiff manager Steve Morrison there, talking to the assembled press ahead of today's game with Preston North End, and I've had a little stroll up to the hospitality suite, the Regal Suite on level 3, and bumped into former Cardiff City player Roger Gibbons, who can be seen holding court here every home game. Roger, it's been a real summer of change at Cardiff City. Probably one like, even in your tenured years here, you haven't seen the like of before.
No, that's very true. It has been busy, to say the least, and I think you're right. The biggest change in terms of in and out, in terms of players, and obviously for reasons of playing and the manager, the way he wants to play, but also financially as well for the club. So, I think what you get out of that is, that it's going to take a bit of time. It's going to take a bit of time for everybody to gel and get to know each other, and for the formation to start really, producing what the manager wants. So, so far, I think okay. A little bit sort of up and down, but you'd expect that, I think, at this time. Yeah. 2
encouraging wins at home, though, and both coming with clean sheets.
I think the 2 home wins have been fantastic. I mean, 2 good sides, and I think you could say, we played Norwich at the right time, but they're a decent side, favourites to go back up, and I thought the performance against Norwich was really pleasing, and followed up by the Birmingham one, which may have even been better in terms of playing wise. And I know everybody's concerned about the lack of goals, but that's not that doesn't surprise me, because again, getting to know each other, getting to know the way you want to play, and the formation and the style, So I would say patience from the supporters' point of view, and everybody. I would say a bit of patience. There are good signs. There are some concerns, but I'm sure manager knows that as well, and let's see how we go in the next 6 games.
I'm sure as an ex-professional going through pre-season, you'll say it's harder to keep clean sheets at the start of the season than it is to score goals. Goals can come, can't they, with shape and people settling in, and 2 teams today who have got clean sheets in abundance to start the season.
Listen, I mean, I'd like to say to everybody, looking forward to a cracking game, bundles of goals, loads of goals, but probably not. They've kept 5 clean sheets, have they, or something like that, and we're not scoring a bundle of goals, so it's going to be a tight one. But then Preston at home is always a bit of a tight one. They're renowned to be a hard team to beat. Their attitude's always good. The manager, I like that. The manager has done a terrific job since he done a great job at Plymouth as well. So yeah, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a hard game. It's going to be a bit of a battle with probably not many goals.
Well, there weren't many goals either the last time these two met, back in January in the FA Cup here. Empty stadium on that occasion as well, unfortunately. It'll be a very different occasion here this afternoon, but competition time for you. We have got 2 hospitality tickets for a future game up for grabs as well. So if you can tweet your answer to the following question to @CardiffCityFC using the hashtag #CityAs1, you'll win yourself 2 future hospitality tickets for this very suite here in level 3. And the question is, back in that game in January in the FA Cup, who scored the 2 goals that saw Cardiff through to what was then the 4th round fixture at Anfield? And surprisingly, both those players are still at the club, considering the turnover we've had this summer. So that's your question. Who are the 2 goal scorers on the day back in January's 3rd round win over Preston here on this ground? And you'll win yourself 2 future tickets to a Cardiff game here in the hospitality suite. Now, thank you very much, Roger, for joining us. Up next, we're going to go to a little chat that one of my colleagues had with Callum O'Dowda a couple of days ago.
Well, Callum, we've seen the first 5 games of the season, and it goes without saying that performances have been really good from you personally, but what's it been like the first month off the field for you, your first experiences of Cardiff? How's it been?
It's been really nice, actually, getting used to a new city, new surroundings and different living, really. And yeah, no, I've really enjoyed it. It hasn't been too far to actually move over, in a way, obviously coming from Bristol, but no, really loving the city and throwing myself at it, really, in terms of going out and exploring as much as I can with my 2 dogs.
Some players go a whole career without fans singing a song in their name. You've got one within 4 weeks. Does that really make you feel like you found a new home?
Do you know what, it really does. I think when, I don't know if it was my mum or my dad, they asked me about the song, because I had that song when I was at Oxford, and I loved it. It was my favourite song, and I always wanted it throughout my career. I don't know why it stopped, but no, I feel loved it. I feel really good. I feel really settled as well, and hopefully that does show on the pitch, giving maybe like a bit of calmness to my play, maybe. But even just looking around the stadium now, I just feel a bit more relaxed. Maybe because I played here quite a few times, maybe, I'm not sure, but the fans, they've been great to me as well, and I couldn't have asked for a better start in terms of personally, but still hungry for more, want to achieve. Like I said when I first signed, I'm at that age now where I want to achieve. I don't want to settle for any mediocrity, really. I want to try and achieve as much as I can with this group, because I truly believe we can.
The Norwich and Birmingham games were fantastic here atmosphere-wise, and speaking honestly, I haven't heard it like, notwithstanding COVID, I haven't heard it like that here for a few seasons. More of the same we'll be hoping for now the next few days.
Yeah, definitely. Try and get as many points as we can over these next 2 games. I think it would really... We personally set targets for the first 8 to 10 games, and obviously we are on track for it, but I think it would really feel as though it has been a really good start. I think if we get what we want from those games, and with them being at home, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Playing at home has felt better than playing away. Maybe it's because of the home support, but maybe the bravery you can see in some of the lads as well, which we are working on and stuff. And because obviously it's a new style of play, new players. It's not going to happen straight away. I feel as though we're getting better and better, whether it be in training and in games, getting used to how each other click, just like little things, the way people, how they touch the ball. It's tiny things that you don't really notice too much, but it's just getting used to different styles and different individuals. So it'll be a tough test, because obviously they are good. We're playing up against good teams. Every game is hard, like everyone says, but excited for it. Really excited for the challenge, and yeah, I'm just can't wait to get out there, really.
We are back pitchside as we continue our build-up to this game with Preston North End here at Cardiff City Stadium this afternoon. And back with John Donovan to have a little chat about what we expect from Preston. And no need to go searching for a narrative this afternoon, John. It's a team who are yet to concede a championship goal this season. 5 clean sheets from 5 games, 4 goalless draws in that, and a 1-0 win sandwiched between, and a very stable 11 outside of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ash, I defer to you when it comes to stats. I'm not a stats man. I love the kind of emotional narrative, but I did have a look at the stats because Steve Morrison referenced them in the press conference. They are extremely similar. Possession stats, where they sit in the league table. This has got all the hallmarks of a little bit of a stalemate. Football being football, no doubt something different will happen today, but they are solid. That back three doesn't have a huge amount of pace perhaps, but it's solid, good defenders who do their job right, and it's that midfield three, and Whiteman particularly, who I really like in terms of someone who can control and dictate the pace of the game at the base of that three. I loved your reference in the programme article about Alan Brown. We've discussed him for years now, just how good a player he would be played in his natural position, because he's done such a sterling job where he's been asked to fill in everywhere else. So he's a threat to Cardiff City. It's a team that's well set up in their sort of back six. Whether they can score goals, well, isn't that something we're talking about Cardiff City at the moment? They haven't scored a lot of goals, but clean sheets, as Steve Morrison said again, probably the hardest thing to do in this league. And if you're keeping clean sheets, you've always got a solid basis to go on and get points.
And the job that Ryan Lowe is doing, look, it's Preston. He hasn't had a great deal of funds to go and refresh that squad. So he's given some players a new lease of life. You talk about the back three. Jordan Storey, Liam Lindsay, two players who might have expected themselves to be on the way out of the club. Cunningham being played in a more suitable position for him now on the left of the back three. Brad Potts, a new lease of life at right wing back. You know, there are players, Ryan Ledson has usually been a backup to Brown and Whiteman, now he's starting games alongside them. There are players in here that are just rejuvenated by playing first team football again, and they've got a manager who believes in them.
Well, everything you've heard about Ryan Lowe, he's this amalgamation of perhaps old school man management. You know, he's the cheeky chappy scouser, and he needed that in his tough spell at Bury, where he did fantastically well in difficult circumstances. But he's also a modern football manager as well. We maybe saw more of that at Plymouth, how he wanted his team to attack the press game that he put in there. They will get the football forward quickly if they need to. It's not direct in the sense of being aimless. It's about turning teams. It's about bringing their wing backs into the game. But they also look for their centre halves to play out and draw the press on and open up space for their three midfielders. So Ryan Lowe, I think, is a manager who's going to go a long, long way. He's a nice mix of that person who can motivate the changing room, a la Neil Warnock, but a modern-day football manager as well, who can be adaptive and knows how to send his side out to win any type of game.
You're talking here, two teams who are similarly struggling for goals. Troy Parrott, no championship goals to his name in his career yet, but a disappointing loan spell at Millwall previously. However, I'm led to believe that every championship club are looking for a 20-goal-a-season striker. Preston have one sat on the bench. Emil Reese-Jacobsen got 16 championship goals last season and 4 in the cup. He has 20 goals. Is this just a bit of gamesmanship ahead of the end of the transfer window? What's going on?
I don't know. It could be, and that would be the obvious one to suggest, because goals per game ratio and what have you, he should be in the side. But your modern day number 9, you have to do more than just score goals, and that's a strange thing to say, particularly when Cardiff are struggling for goals, and all the talk this week has been about anyone who can step up to the mantle. But that number 9, that front play position, is about leading the press. It's about stretching centre halves to allow third man runs to come in. So it's about doing it without the ball as well as with the ball. I still think the most important thing, and Cardiff are crying out for it, someone to put the ball in the back of the net. But a manager these days, when he looks at his front player, maybe also has an eye towards what he's doing without the ball. And I don't know, maybe he sees more in Parrott in terms of playing that overall team game that managers are looking for these days.
Well, I was about to say something's got to give today. Might not be the case at all, of course. I'm sure every football bettor in the country is lumping on 0-0 on this one. We sincerely hope that's not to be the case. If you're tuning in for audio commentary this afternoon, you'll have John Donovan and Mark Denham, I said your name right that time, in your ears in about 10 minutes' time. If you're going to watch the game on Cardiff City TV, and thank you if you are, then you've got myself and Connor Pearce for company. 7 minutes to kick off here at Cardiff City TV, and we've got live coverage the other side of these messages.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Here for Cardiff, we come flying out the box. Wilson finds Murphy, slightly behind him. Murphy on his left foot though. Goal! It's Josh Murphy, and it's another brilliant start to a second half.
1-2 Thompson. Oh, that's an excellent ball. What to do? Still wetting up. Oh, gets past Alexander. Chopra. Second of the night. Cardiff City score 1. Goal number 21 of the season. Michael Chopra appears again.
As well to use his body and get away with it. Cardiff can break in numbers here. Wilson's in space. Moore uses Ojo. Ojo still going on his right foot. Ojo! 1-0 to the Bluebirds. What a goal that was.
Ruthless in transition, Cardiff. Starts with Joe Rawls in his own area. Reads the ball forward with a good break header, as you said, Mark. And then from then on, it's just crisp from Cardiff.
cross comes in, it's blocked, cleared away by Whittingham. There's a Hall in the centre circle. It's 1 against 3, battles his way forward, he's going forward, he could score here. He does score! What a goal from Kenneth O'Hare, 2-0.
It's an exceptional piece of individual skill from Kenneth O'Hare. Absolutely remarkable from the young man. Picks up the ball on halfway. Back to 3 defenders. He backs his own strength, his own pace and his own ability. And just bulldozes his way through 2 challenges in the midfield area. And then has all the composure in the world to bear down on goal, draw the keeper and lift the ball delicately up and over.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV. He'll shoot and he'll score! One in the area! And it's marked Welcome to Cardiff City TV for live coverage of this afternoon's game in a baking sunshine here in the Welsh capital. Cardiff City at home to unbeaten Preston North End, yet to concede a goal this championship season. And usually we're searching for narratives at the championship level. Not this afternoon, it's pretty evident. Cardiff yet to concede at home in the championship. Preston yet to concede at all. Cardiff make 3 changes to the side that lost 6 days ago at Ashton Gate in the Seventh-side derby. Callum O'Dowda being asked to fill in at left back this afternoon because of that concussion protocol, the 7-day concussion protocol for Joel Bagan, which means he's unavailable this afternoon. Niels Nkounkou, signed yesterday on loan for Everton for the rest of the season, is on the bench though. The changes then, Captain Joe Rose slides into the central midfield positions, replacing Andy Rinomota. And there's 2 changes in the wide areas. Jaden Philogene on the left, and to every Cardiff fan's pleasure, Ruben Colwell starts on the right. Max Waters keeps his place as the number 9. Preston, it's a very, very settled outfit indeed. Why wouldn't it be when you've been on the season starting run that they have? Some recognisable figures as well, not least Greg Cunningham, once a Bluebird. He plays on the left-hand side of the Preston back 3. Former Swansea City goalkeeper Freddie Woodman, the one signing made for money this summer, starts in goals. And up top is Spurs loanee Troy Parrott, favoured over Emil Rees-Jacobsen, who got 20 goals last season. Parrott yet to record a championship goal to his name in his career.